WCB Podcast, your source for all things Chicago Blackhawks and everything hockey. With your host, let's do it, Jarom, Tanner, and Nolly.
All right, it's another edition of the WCB Podcast, part of the Hockey Podcast Network, presented by DraftKings. It's Jarom, it's Nolly, it's Tanner. What is going on, boys?
You know, fucking another day closer to the season starting, so feeling good. We're almost 1 month away.
35 days?
35 days?
Esposito days?
34 days when this goes live, maybe?
35, 45? I don't know.
We're in September. Once you hit September, it's basically a hockey season now.
I mean, we got hockey happening this month, but it's not regular season.
That's all right. Preseason.
We'll be able to see Bedard play this month.
Are you sure?
No.
I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. So hockey is in September. We got a little bit of Hawks talk, and we are going to wrap up our divisional previews with the Central today, minus the Blackhawks. We are going to do oh no. Sorry, we did our fantasy draft lottery tonight, so our texts are going up now. Oh my god, please Dice, do it. Do it.
He won't. Whoever ends up with
God.
Bedard is going to keep him for a long time.
Not if I take him in the first round or second round, because I don't have a first round pick. I was thinking about that just so just because nobody gets to keep him right away.
If he's still on the board somehow, past 10th round or something, it's like, ooh, no, jump on that. He's not our group. He'll be the new Phil Kessler. He'll get drafted really early.
Oh, yeah. Kane some years. What the fuck with that?
But
anyway.
All right. Yeah, so let's get into the little bit of hot talk. Speaking of Patrick Kane, Blackhawk fans' worst nightmare may be coming true.
I mean, it's not my worst nightmare.
I was gonna say it could be worse.
Before. Yeah, it could be St. Louis.
St. Louis, yep.
That's fair. Early Chicago Blackhawk fans, 90s Blackhawk fans' worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Patrick Kane is rumored to want to go where DeBrincat goes, and where DeBrincat is Detroit. So we may be seeing some showtime in Motown. I get it. I
mean, the relationship, is it going to be a little rocky? He wasn't playing with DeBrincat. He went and saw Panarin, his side chick, and now he's going to go back to DeBrincat and be like, baby, that's not me. That's not me. You know me.
It was always you. It was always you. Yeah, I mean,
you're always my one.
You're always my number one. It wasn't good timing. I don't know. It's just, I've heard Detroit. I mean, Detroit's this week's oh, Kane could go here. I've also heard oh, Dallas really wants Kane, and I've also heard oh, it really sounds like he's gonna go to Buffalo. You're just gonna keep hearing the rumors until he goes somewhere. So I'm not. It makes sense. I mean, all three of those teams make sense, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mostly, obviously, Buffalo, Detroit, because of DeBrincat, and then Kane are just going back home. But I mean, I'm not gonna believe
Dallas has no cap, so I don't know how that would work.
Yeah. I'm not gonna believe anything until he actually goes somewhere, really.
Does it make sense for Detroit though if they're not contending?
I mean, if he gets a 5-year deal, yeah. I don't know if he'll get that, but
I think he's gonna be I think he's signing 1-year tickets at this point.
I don't know. I could see him at least getting 3 somewhere.
3, 2, 3. That makes sense. Honestly, if I
this
guess
year
just
though,
depends on the
coming
team,
back
right?
from
It
injury,
depends on the team.
Yeah, I think coming back from injury though, I think he might for himself just take the 1-year deal, get back up there, and then get paid when the cap goes up for what
it would make sense for a team, especially if they don't sign him right at the beginning of the year, to only give him the 1 year at a lower cost, because any team that's cap strapped, that cap, the further on into the season you sign him, the higher the cap hit actually is, no matter what his actual salary is. So it makes sense to probably go 1 year and as low as you possibly can, and then like you said, after that maybe get a 2-year deal after that or something.
He says he's feeling good. He said he hasn't felt this good in a long time, which is fucking exciting. It just sucks. It's Detroit. I don't know. I know it's not as bad. It could be St. Louis and all that, but it's
it's just
90s
not
part of me. The 90s Blackhawk fan of me is fuck Detroit. Still, but also
Yeah,
like
but
it'd be cool to see Detroit be good again.
it would also be really cool if like he's in Detroit. And let's say it was like a 5-year deal, and like year 5, you have Hawks, Detroit, Stanley Cup final, and like Kane are just getting booed at the UC.
It's just like once the playoffs started, I finally got used to like seeing him in Rangers like a little bit. Him going anywhere else now just doesn't seem right, especially to Detroit. I feel like even though it's back to red, like it's not gonna look right. It's gonna take me a while to get used to that again.
The Reds are like a weird one too, right? It's
Yeah.
too much red, too much white.
It's just red, white. Yeah, it's just like two colors. Like I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
If he does go there, like DeBrincat and him are just gonna probably light it up again. And like if they have Larkin at
Frozen.
fuck. Anyway, yeah, if they have Larkin at center, like that's gonna be nasty. Like when was the last time like they had that caliber of like a center between the two of them?
Oh man,
it was Dylan Strome, and then it was fucking like Kirby Doc like got a shot, and I don't know.
You probably argue they never had a Larkin caliber.
And it's funny because like Kane, I mean, like, since they won their last cup, he really hasn't had that center. I mean, he had fucking Anisimov for a bit, but that was when he was with Panarin, and it didn't matter who was in between them at that point. But like,
I mean, he was a perfect like center for them. Just
go
stand in front. Go stand in front and just put it away.
Just be a body somewhere, please. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Like he really hasn't had like that high caliber of a center since those cup runs,
Yeah. And that would just be an incredible line. I mean, obviously, like I think it would compete for like probably one of the best top lines in the NHL, right? Like especially if Kaner comes back and he's feeling, like he said, like feeling super fucking good, and he's moving well and just dishing it and potting close to 30 maybe. Like
get fucking 40 gold to bring it back too. They having Kane back with him. Like, oh.
Yeah, it'd just be interesting to see, like I feel like DeBrincat's going to have a bigger year than he did in Ottawa last year. Yeah. Just because he's back to his hometown. But like, it's just going to be interesting.
He's also going top line, right? Like he wasn't top line in Ottawa.
No, he was second.
You didn't even think he wanted to be in Ottawa, so it was probably just like, let's just get this year done with.
Hey, that's the thing. He didn't have any like negotiating power because he's a fucking RFA. So sorry, bud.
He went full Pierre-Luc Dubois. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go.
Exit this way. All right, I'm just gonna head out.
Season's over, right? You got 3 games left. Yeah, season's over. I'm gonna pack my bags.
Yeah, I'm gonna head back to the States. Thanks, guys.
Oh, my knee. Ow. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And like you said, Nolly, I think we're gonna hear probably 5 more teams that are in on Kane between now until he actually signs.
Dude, I guarantee you at some point they're going to start talking Toronto's interested, Carolina, Colorado, like the teams have a chance at going up there. I mean, Tampa,
Vegas,
Florida, Vegas, all those teams are going to be, there's rumors that this team, like, no shit, all those teams want him. Like, who wouldn't want to add him right now? But
Boston's going to just get him to be his first line center because they don't have one.
Yeah. I think he's like 0 for 5 in his career.
Yeah, I think Dallas is the only team that like is the farthest west I can see him going, honestly. I feel like him staying out east is like a big thing for him. New York, Buffalo, Detroit, Chicago, like I think that's like a big thing for him.
I don't see him going to Canada at all either.
No.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say LA would be cool, but like that's so far that I don't think it's gonna that would make it at all.
Unless it's stupid money. Who knows?
Yeah. Unless it's stupid money.
All right.
Florida.
You guys want to move on to the preview?
Only other thing that's not really Hawks talk, but just NHL talk. Phil Kessel, he wants to play, and he said, "I don't need to have the Ironman streak going. Like that's cool. Just sign me, please." And
so
it's kind of Hawks talk.
It is Hawks talk.
Davidson, I don't know why you're not on the horn. Just get him in a couple games. Let us get the jersey. That's fine. That's it. That's all we want.
That's all we want. Also, sorry, just to go back really quick. Tanner's actually 38.8% in his career on faceoffs, and 2 years ago he was 100%. He probably took one faceoff, but he was 100%. Now, I say that, and 38.8 is not too bad actually. I get, there's no way he's taking more than 50 faceoffs, but still, he's got some decent numbers.
He could be first line center in Boston. I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you, he is not skating that much though to play center. You replaced one of the best defensive defensemen or centermen in all time with Patrick Kane. I don't think that's going to go there.
I don't think
You
so.
know,
Either.
Kane's argument too is like, you know, before he started back checking, he never had hip issues.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Yeah, right.
All of a sudden he starts playing some defensive hockey, and all of a sudden his hip goes out. He's got to have surgery and all this. I don't know. Might relate a little bit, but yeah, back to that. I don't know why Phil Kessel wasn't announced as a Chicago Blackhawk like 30 minutes after that little headline broke, because Kyle, right thing, give it to us.
Come on, Kyle.
I'm telling you, like, get him. He'll get back to 30 goals. You put him just on the Taylor Hall and Connor Bedard line,
dude. Oh, don't even say that line.
Just reunite with Taylor Hall.
Dude, I don't know if he can keep up anymore, man.
He doesn't need to.
Yeah,
just stand at the top of the circles and just fucking rip.
He only plays offensive zone faceoffs.
Yeah, only offensive zone.
Only
faceoffs.
offensive zone faceoffs, and like outside of the offensive zone. Everything. Once the puck goes over the red line, goes past center ice, he gets off, changes.
Yeah,
their blue line to their top.
Luke, I'm coming off the ice.
Fucking change already! Goddamn.
Oh shit! All right,
doesn't do changes in the second period because of the long change.
It's a hot dog break, second period. That's
fucking
all right.
Send him.
Pass me the rock. Give me the rock.
You think I'm fucking going out there? Yeah, right.
It's like we sound kind of got a little Shoresy mixed in with this. It's
yeah,
all right.
Anybody that talks like Phil sounds exactly like that.
Yeah.
Versteeg,
So good.
God, I was still. That's probably my favorite moments of the shows when Versteeg was doing his Phil impression. God,
Love it. Gotta love it.
Living legend.
All right, Central Division. Probably going to be the best division in the Western Conference, I think.
First to first, baby. Not starting with the Hawks.
Well, we're not, like I said, we're going to avoid the Hawks because we're going to do a whole Hawks episode, you know, considering we are a Hawks podcast. But last year they finished 26-49, 7 for 59 points, third worst in the league. Didn't matter. We still got Bedard. I don't know if you guys knew about that, but we got Bedard. Who didn't get Bedard because they turned it up towards the end of the season, especially at the mullet. Arizona Coyotes, 28, 40, and 14. They finished with 70 points. Is this team ready to actually play hockey, or are they just going to tank all their way to Houston or Quebec or where the fuck they're going?
Dude, I don't think they're ready to play hockey until they figure out where they're going to play hockey at. Like, that's part of it. Actually, to be fair, they fucking tore it up at home last year, but
Yeah, they did.
I don't know. They made actually a lot of decent moves. But then there's a lot of moves that like are strange also.
They're like the Ducks we talked about last week. Like they have some moves, but then there's like, what are we doing?
Right.
What's going on here?
Whoa. With the Ducks, man, like they were handing out 5-year contracts to guys that are in their 30s.
Okay,
and you're like,
fair.
yeah, what's happening? What's happening? What is this? But with Arizona, like the young guys, like they're building. And when you were talking about like one of the reasons why they didn't finish in last was like they turned it up. It's Clayton Keller was single-handedly fucking keeping them from being in last place.
So fucking
Dude,
good.
that kid, especially he broke his fucking leg the year before, and like to be able to come back and just light it up with 86 points this season, he's just nasty, man. I feel so bad. I don't know, maybe he enjoys it, but like I feel so bad that he's in a market that he's in because he's not. He should be getting way more praise than he does right now. Like he's underrated as fuck.
Yeah, he is.
Oh,
you know what's
100%.
funny? I'd seen like an argument online that I can't remember what Instagram it was for, but they were just like talking about like what winger would you rather have on your team, and some people were saying like Clayton Keller over Willie Nylander, and I was like, honestly, like I could see it. Man, he's putting up 86 points on a team with nobody, And like Nylander's good. He's putting up a ton of points, but he's got a lot of help too. Like if you put Keller in that position, like I don't know, man, he probably fucking gets way more. He probably gets close to 100.
He had 63 points in 67 games last year when he got hurt, or 2 years ago when he got hurt. Like,
yeah,
he's consistent.
Yeah.
So
Nylander had 87 points last year, 40 goals, and yeah, Keller had 86 with 37 goals. I mean, they're right about the same spot. Yeah. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, but that's just because I really like Willie Nylander.
yeah, I like him too.
Like that's a tough one. Yeah.
So with Arizona, like I think they made some good moves, right? Like bringing in Matt Dumba, just to kind of help out on the defensive side. Alex Kerfoot was like, he's okay. Their biggest addition, just like not through signing, like having Logan Cooley coming in. Mm-hmm. That's going to be huge for him. If he has a good season and competes for the Calder, like that could be pretty nasty. They're like outside of Nick Bukestad, who they brought in, their center depth is 23, 19, and 23 years old. Like they have like a good set of young guys that they're looking for down the middle. And then the other guys that they're building around is that Matthias Maccelli kid, who was a 4th rounder, by the way, in 2019, who had 49 points last year. And he was like, I think he was like kind of in the Calder talks, just wasn't a top 3, right? That Dylan Guenther kid, who was their 1st round pick in 2021's coming in for probably the full season this year. He had 15 points in 33 games. Barrett Hayton, he had a full season last year, but I don't know if he was playing first line minutes. He's 23.
No,
he was their 5th overall pick in 2015. Like him having a bigger role, see if he can step up. I mean, getting Nick Schmaltz back, like that's actually, he's probably going to be their number 1 center. I forgot that they have him. I think he's listed as
wing center.
Oh, he's listed as right wing. Okay.
Yeah,
he's got right wing center. Yeah,
has it Keller, Hayton, Schmaltz, which is a fucking pretty gross line.
Yeah. What was it? Schmaltz had an 8-point game last year. Is that what it was? And then he fucking got hurt.
They also traded from LA. They got that Sean Dursey, which is
I was about to bring him up too. Yeah,
on D, like that's another, just like you said, young kid that like can play defense.
24 years old. I think he put up like 50 points last year. No,
who? Dursey?
38. Sorry, what was that? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, that's penalty minutes I was looking at. Sorry. Yeah, no, that was a big pickup. That I think that surprised a lot of people that were like, "Oh shit, they might be taking this a little bit serious now. Like they might be trying to put a team together."
And like doing things like signing Jason Zucker, right? Like he didn't have a crazy good year or anything in Pittsburgh, but he had 48 points. That's not bad. Bringing a guy like that in on a 1-year deal, and if the Coyotes are like still not in the playoffs, like if he plays well, that's the same thing that the Hawks did, right? Like bringing in that veteran leadership for those young guys. And then if they do well, like you can move them to a team that's playoff bound and get some picks. The fucking Coyotes have like 10 second rounders in the next 3 years. And then they have all their first rounders. So, and then in the 3rd round, they have 7 over the next 3 years. They have, what is that? It's fucking 20 picks.
13 picks in the entire draft next year too. Like they
also don't have a single defenseman signed after this year.
Right. So there's plenty of opportunity, right? Like they drafted a defenseman with their 6th overall pick this year that's coming out of Russia. Like you're probably not going to see him for a few years, but what they've done well is draft defensemen with OEL and fucking Chikrin. Like they've always drafted 1st round defensemen very well. And without a doubt, I'm sure like that kid will probably turn out to be pretty good. Should they have traded down to get him? I think so, but like whatever, like that's what they wanted to do. This team, I don't think is going to really compete like for a playoff spot, but I think they'll look better than they did last year.
I think they're going to compete well. Like they're going to sneak up on teams. Like they're going to play teams really well. Tight games. It's not gonna be normal. Like, oh shit, playing the Coyotes is gonna be a blowout. Like it's gonna be tight games. But yeah, I don't think they sniff like the playoffs.
It'll be like last year's Blackhawks. Like every game will be close, but they're not gonna get blown out every single night. But I think they'll win more games than the Hawks did.
Just like looking at their Oh yeah, they had Shane Gostisbehere last year in Chikrin. I mean, they're gonna probably get a little less offense from the defensive side, right? I mean, fucking Dumba. I don't even know what he did last year in Minnesota. What did he have? He only had 14 points. He's not really a
Really?
point getter. Yeah, he's
Oh
not.
yeah,
He's only like,
defensive, yeah.
which is crazy because he had 50 points in 2017, 2018, and then he hasn't really gotten more than 25 ish. Sean Dursey was Dursey like more of a point guy? I don't remember. I just know like they got him, or they got him from like Toronto, and then only like a second rounder or something for, I don't know. But they're young guys. Like, could Clayton Keller put up like close to 90 again? Can Nick Schmaltz stay healthy and be close to a point per game? Can their even younger guys like improve on what they did last year? Because if they can, then like, I mean, they might not be second to last in the Central.
I think they're going to be middle of the pack. I don't think like they're not going to be enough where they're going to sniff the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be near the bottom like they have been.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about that because like you look at the rest of the division, it's like who are they going to jump? But we'll get to all those guys. But another, like going back, like how good is Logan Cooley going to be like in his first?
Oh, right. Yeah. If Logan Cooley puts up 50 points, that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
I cannot wait for this Calder race this year, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a fun year to watch the rookies.
Right, and like a lot of them coming off of like teams that are bad, so like they're gonna get the ice time. Like Logan Cooley and Connor Bedard are gonna just get the ice time. Where like if I don't know, Luke Hughes is like a weird one because their defensive side like kind of made moves to like give them that kind of like ice time. That's a good team though too, right? Shane Wright's stepping into a team that just made the playoffs. Like, is he going to get that top 6 kind of ice time? Maybe not, but they're still talking about him as like he could be a Calder like nominee. Fantilli's going to get ice time too. Yeah, a lot of these young kids on bad teams are going to get so much ice time. It's going to fucking look super good.
I know we're talking about the Central, but because you said Fantilli of Buchacross, say he's going to be classic Tanner Houston guy, 30 for 30.
Yeah, that's right. That's a Sean Monahan. But
yeah. All right. Next up is our favorite team, the St. Louis Blues. Last year they finished 37-38, 7 for 81 points. Will they continue to decline, or are they set for a comeback? And how many times does Binnington have mental breakdowns?
As long as you have Jordan Binnington, you are not going to improve. It's just not going to happen.
Ooh, that should be a prop bet. I wish we had an ability to make prop bets on something and be like over under on mental breakdowns from or hissy fits thrown by Binnington.
Yeah, hissy fits, I think is a good one. Did they even bring anyone in? They brought in like Oscar Sundqvist. That's it.
Kevin
like,
or Hayes.
Oh yeah. I forgot. I wasn't looking at trades. I was just looking at free agency. They brought in Malcolm Subban, apparently. Oh
yeah, I mean,
did they get Wyatt Kalnick too? Yeah,
they did.
I feel like defensemen are like on the trading block too. Well, last year they were.
They're just running it back. That's all it is. I mean, they didn't really improve. I mean, I don't know if Kevin Hayes is a nice addition. I just don't know if that's going to be like, oh God, look out for the Blues again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this team doesn't scare anybody, I don't think, right? Like, it's one of those things where I was saying, like, looking forward to the season, like, what's something that you really want to see? And it's just like, I just want to see the Hawks chase Binnington out of the net every game. I'm curious because we still haven't heard about the 2018 Team Canada scandal. Does it possibly affect the Blues with Kyrou and Thomas both being on that team?
Which, if it does, fuck, dude, that's huge because those are the 2 guys right now. Like
that's their
go to their roster. It's over 130 points, right? Just between those 2 guys from last season.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just lose one of those guys, like that's gonna hurt them even more.
As literally NHL.com was like three questions about St. Louis, and is Kyrou and Thomas ready to take the reins as the leaders? And it's like, oh, that would suck. God damn.
They're on matching deals too.
Are they? Oh yeah, they're on matching deals.
Yeah.
1.25 for the next 8 years. Jesus.
Oh, are those starting this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, can you imagine all that shit drops? It's the first of 8 years. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yikers. Yeah, I mean they're not a bad team, especially like that. I feel like the end of last year they started to play a lot better. But yeah, it's just I don't know. Like, yeah, bringing in Kevin Hayes, yeah, that's not a terrible move, but like, what has he really done anywhere he's gone? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
never lived up to what he should be doing. I feel like, I mean, he's not terrible as your second line center, and like their center depth isn't terrible. Like Thomas Hayes and then Braden Shen, like it's just it's a bunch of like 50 to 60 point guys. I feel like, which isn't bad, but they're like no Seattle. Like the way they play, like these guys, I feel like these guys
Yeah.
have their heads type thing where it's like they think that they could be putting up way more points. Where like guys in Seattle are like, "Fuck, dude, we're all putting up 50. This is sick." You know, like I can't wait to see this point. You know, like
I think it's because Seattle shuts it down defensively a lot better.
yeah, yeah. None of these guys scream like two-way players. Besides, and he doesn't scream it. It's just like he's there. He can do.
It's funny that like two of their guys that are like kind of in the top of their lineup. I mean, I guess Verana, he's listed at third line right now, but he came in and played 20 games and scored 10 goals.
Yeah,
he was basically given to them by Detroit, and then also Kasperi Kapanen. He came in on just fucking waivers pickup, which I was like very surprised that Pittsburgh did that. And he put up 14 points in 23 games. So they both put up 14 points in about 20 games. That's pretty lucky.
Like when those two guys came, and that's when the Blues were like starting to play better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know, just adding that depth helped, but like
there's a reason those guys were basically given away though, right? Like
yeah. And I mean, as long as you have Bennington in your net, man, it's not going to be good.
It's funny too, because like talking about like giving players away, like they got Kevin Hayes for a 6th rounder, so like they didn't pay much to get Verana, Kasperi Kapanen, and Kevin Hayes, and those guys look like they're a big part of their fucking lineup. So it's kind of weird.
I think what benefits St. Louis, at least in my opinion, is that I feel two teams that finished higher than them got worse, in my opinion. So that might be help out for them. But again, I don't know.
Arizona, I think, could jump St. Louis. Also, fucking Kyrou was a -38. And like, I know plus minus isn't like a great stat to like follow, but when you're a -38, it's like, what do you want, the Hawks?
It's not a great stat until it's like egregious one way or the other. Then it's like, oh, okay. But like if
when you're like Johnny Gaudreau and like Kachuk and like Elias Lindholm on that line like last year, and they're all +60, you're like, that line's fucking good. Like it's +60. Like what, you can't argue that. Like if somebody's just like +4, it's like, all right, that could be like one way or the other.
You're out there for a lot of goals for.
Yeah. Or you're out there for a lot of goals against.
All right. Moving on to Nashville. They finished last year 42-32-8 for 92 points. Can the retooling team under their new GM Barry Trotz be good enough to get back in the playoffs? Are they in for a rebuild? And bonus question, will we see a Saros trade happen this year?
So when you said you don't see the two teams above St. Louis getting better, I kind of don't agree with Nashville. I think they did kind of get better. I mean, adding Luke Shen in your top two, like that, like he still can play defense, and adding him with Roman Josi, that's huge. And then your second pairing is Tyson Barrie, Ryan McDonough. It's another pairing exactly the same. Obviously, Josi to Barrie is a big drop off in talent, but like it's still like a guy with a stay-at-home guy. And they added Ryan O'Reilly, got rid of Johansson Duchesne finally. I mean, those contracts are still going to bite them in the ass, but like being able to finally just move on from that era of just these two average guys that getting paid way too much and not delivering, like I think that's going to help them. And I don't know, I just like, I don't hate this team, honestly. They added Gustav Nyquist too. That guy just fucking makes the playoffs with teams.
Oh yeah.
Not saying that this is a playoff team, but I do like this team. I do think they got better. And when you have UC Saros and that, you just never know what could happen because he's one of the best goalies in the fucking league, like hands down.
Oh, absolutely.
Him and Sorokin easily could have been up for Hart trophies because they were by far the best players on their team.
Can you believe it's been 7 months without an NFL game? Crazy, right? Well, good thing that's over. NFL is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving you a can't miss offer for week 1. This week, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL game. DraftKings is hooking everyone up with game day greatness. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game day this September. Check the app to see what you get. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code THPN to sign up. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly just for betting $5. That's code THPN only on the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas City. 21 plus age varies by jurisdictions. Void in Ontario. See dkng.co/bets/football for its eligibility. Terms and responsibility gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance. Eligibility deposit restrictions apply.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely, just 100%. And then the fact, like what you were saying, bringing in Luke Shen to a team that's already got Saros and Roman Yossi and like a very solid defensive core. Nashville's always been super good defensively, and they just added like one of the best like shot blocking, hitting defensive defensemen that played last year. Ryan O'Reilly being a two-way guy is great. Cody Glass, I guess, had like a decent year. I'm just looking at like their middle. That Thomas Novak kid put up 43 points in 51 games. Like if he plays a full season, is he going to be close to a point per game? I'm sure he'd be like more second line center over Cody Glass, but that's kind of like a nice little surprise. He's a 3rd round pick in 2015.
I mean, even full 82 and he got 60 points. Like that's huge, you know?
Yeah. That would be massive. Kids like, well, so like that Thomas Novak guy coming out of nowhere, it's great. Plus, I forgot completely that they loaded up on picks from Tampa from the Tanner Jeannot trade, which is huge for the upcoming years. And then Philip Tomasino getting more time. He's one of their young guys that was a 1st round pick in 2019. If he like can produce a bit more, it's one of those things where last year we're talking about like a lot of these guys needed to have career seasons again for Nashville to be in the playoffs. And they kind of got rid of most of those guys, right? Like Duchesne, Johansson, whatever. They moved on from a bunch of guys. And now they have a good mixture of like young talent and like veteran leadership, that like the veterans that have kind of hit their stride and you know what you're going to get for them. You're not going to get a surprise like 40 goal season out of a guy like Duchesne, or maybe not that, right? So Nashville, I think, is getting a little bit more solid, but giving more time to those young guys, right? So like Luke Evangelista kid, he's going to be, right now he's listed as top line right wing. Like, yeah. Is he going to produce there? Like, I think it's cool to see like the young guys getting the ice time.
Yeah, and I mean that's when they started looking really good last year too. Like they hit a like their young guys came in and just fucking stepped it up, and I was like, holy shit, who are all these kids? But like that's a really good point. Like adding Gustav Nyquist, Ryan O'Reilly, and Luke Shen, you know exactly what you're getting out of those guys. Like I said, like Nyquist just shows up on teams and just plays exactly how he's supposed to play, and like those teams just make playoffs. Like because like he's a playoff guy. And Ryan O'Reilly is just like, that's huge, like 1st line center. Like that's huge for them.
Just incredible leadership too, right? Like he's the two-way guy. He's won a Selke. He's been there for a Stanley Cup championship. Like he's been around too. Like he's I'm sure he'll be great in the locker room for all those young guys.
As long as he's not out all night fucking gassing Guinnesses on Broadway, just playing the guitar at fucking some of the honky tonks down there, that he'll be all right.
All right, you guys flip me.
Oh, you like Nashville a bit?
It's like that I didn't like Nashville. I didn't remember a lot of the moves they made.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that I kind of agree with you though, is I can see this as like a growing pains kind of year. Um, like just getting used to the new faces, right? Like a lot of times it's hard to bring in new guys and have them like do as well as they usually do, but it's I don't know, like what we were talking about, like the guys like Luke Shen that have been around, Ryan O'Reilly that's been around, like these guys have been places. You're not getting guys that came from one team and now they're trying to adjust. Like they know how to adjust.
Yeah, I was
Out
gonna
of the
say all of those guys have been on multiple teams. Like,
Yeah.
like everyone knows Ryan O'Reilly's track record. Like Luke Shen has jumped around a lot and
Mike
not
was, yeah.
every teams too. Like it's just like you said, they know how to adjust quick.
The teams that missed the playoffs, I probably I'd put money on Nashville being the ones that makes the jump probably.
That pushes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The other team that I don't think you're gonna be able to change my mind on is the Winnipeg Jets. 46, 33, and 3 for 95 points. They lost in the first round of Vegas. Kind of the same thing with this team. Can they remain competitive with potentially losing Scheifele and Hellbuck this year?
And they lost Wheeler.
And Wheeler. And then their big move was the trade of Dubois.
Mm-hmm.
And who do they bring in again?
It was Gabe Velarde, and some other young guys. Fuck, I can't remember. I mean, they have Colin Delia now, so you know that they're going to be good.
It's true. That Vancouver team was really good with Colin Delia on it.
That was more of a coaching issue.
What Bruce? There it is, baby. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I don't.
Alex Iafallo. That's the other guy.
No, I said it for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear you say it. Sorry. Bye.
No, it's like I don't know what to make out of this team. Like last year, I thought they were still going to be good and competitive, and then they went out and got Nino Niederreiter, and like I was like, oh shit, like that's a huge ad. And then it's like, what the fuck are they doing? And it just seems like it's such a locker room thing where it's just like the chemistry is just not there for some reason. I don't know if moving Wheeler is going to change anything. I mean, being able to get Gabe Velarde and Alex Iafallo out of that PLD deal, I think that was actually really good for them.
It was a big.
There was another guy they got actually. They got Rasmus Kupari, who's just like a body for like the fourth line.
I mean, yeah, it's
he's a good depth guy. Like he's not gonna like stun anybody out there, but I mean he can take minutes and be productive out there for sure.
Yeah, they had Velarde, Iafallo, Kupari in a second for Pierre-Luc Dubois. So I think it's a solid trade to get a lot of good, solid roster players.
A guy that didn't want to be on your team anyway.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like it's the names on this team, like Connor Scheifele, Ehlers, Nino Niederreiter, Lowry, Perfetti, Mason Appleton, like all these guys, like what they can do, but like are they gonna do it? Like I feel like Connor had an off year. Even he got 80 points, but like I feel like he should be putting up more than like 31 goals. Scheifele, I don't know. It's just I feel like they just underwhelm every year. Like Josh Morrissey on the back end.
I was saying,
Josh Morrissey had a monster season.
Yeah, can he match what he did last year? He had 76 points in 78 games. Like that was fucking nuts what he was able to do.
I think the big thing is you're talking about Kyle Connor, right? So Kyle Connor, 47 goals the season before, down to 31. Is a huge leap for a guy that's pushing almost 50, and he had 93 points. If he gets up to closer to that 100-point range, like you're going to see guys like Josh Morrissey having another season like that, right? Because like he's going to be dishing in the puck. Like he's so fucking good, and he looks like he's like a bearded 13-year-old. It's fucking insane. The crazy thing to me too is like what's the deal with Nate Schmidt, man? Like he came into the Vegas Golden Knights and was like a stud defenseman for him, and then they just moved on from him, and he's just steadily declined.
Yeah, well, he got caught using fucking PEDs.
Yeah, see, he can't use
that's right.
steroids no more.
Oh God,
anymore, man. But then, I mean, what's gonna happen to Hellbuck? Like Jarom said it when we first started talking. Like, where is Scheifele gonna be gone? Is Hellbuck gonna be gone? Like, this is like they either need to start making some trades to bring guys in, or they need to start trading guys out. Which I guess they kind of like done that with the Iafallo Velarde.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't know. I don't know. It's
But
just
when Hellebuck comes out and says that he's like, yeah, I have no intentions of re-signing here, it's like you have to go plan if like, okay, you got to see how the season starts and then potentially just start the rebuild because we're not going to bring people in to try to win this year if he's just going to fucking walk regardless.
well, I guess it depends on where they're at, like towards the trade deadline.
Yeah.
If they're pushing a playoff spot, maybe they go out and get somebody just to make a final run with Hellebuck one last time, or like if they're not close, then you got to move on.
Are they hurting themselves by holding on to him longer into the season, or do you think that he's the type of player that you hold on till the trade deadline when you know the need from the rest of the league?
So here's what I see with this team is like they have the pieces where they can move on from these guys and not be rebuilding and just retooling and then they could possibly be even more competitive because you saw what they got for Pierre-Luc Dubois. They got 3 solid roster players. Scheifele, you're going to get a little bit more. Even though he's on his last year of his deal, Pierre-Luc Dubois needed a fucking contract. Like they got 3 guys for a guy that needed a contract. You fucking toss Scheifele out there. You get some like maybe younger 20s guys that, hey, like they haven't been playing well or like they've been playing decent enough, like that now get better ice time and maybe they can explode. You trade Hellebuck to a team like, I don't know, fucking Buffalo, and Buffalo maybe sends you either one of Devin Levi or Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, right? So you get a goalie that could possibly be goalie of your future. And so that's how you just do a retool instead of a full rebuild. Like they have the other pieces in place, like Kyle Connor, Nikolai Ehlers. They have Josh Morrissey. Like they have a lot of good pieces where this is so different from the Hawks because the Hawks had nothing outside of Doc and DeBrincat when Davidson decided to pull that trigger.
Yeah, and it's hard because like right now I feel like most teams probably have their tandem set up. So it's like you're probably not going to get much now, but going into like the trade deadline, there's going to be goalies that are hurt. There's going to be teams that have no backup goalie or need that depth just to make a final push for it. I think.
What about like a fucking Edmonton too, right? Like if Edmonton's still having goalie issues and then they're like, hey, sell the fucking farm for Hellebuck.
Hold
Edmonton.
You get fucking Hellebuck at $3 million, like Edmonton, like for just one run, like that could push them over the top on being the best chance out of the whole West.
I think Edmonton, Buffalo, and New Jersey are 3 teams that you might want to keep an eye on to come trade deadline for a potential goalie pickup, especially if it's a rental like this.
Yeah. Plus, like if it's a rental too, you can make the argument that you don't have to give up like as much as you possibly would because you can just turn and look at Winnipeg and just go, you're not going to get him at at the end of the summer anyway, so might as well get something for him.
Something's better than nothing at this point.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Minnesota Wild finished 46-25-11 for 103 points. They lost in the first round to the Dallas Stars. The 2 things I have with this losing Dumba hurt them on the back end, and can Gustafsson build on his breakout season where we saw him finish 22-9-7 with a 2.10 goals against average, 9.31 save percentage, and 3 shutouts.
Man, it's gonna be tough. I mean, he's a good goalie, but I mean, it's gonna be tough to be able to do what he did. I don't know. I mean, it definitely helps. I feel like having Fleury back there because Fleury's just such a like chill guy. Like he's always just there for the fun. Like I feel like that having that around you just kind of keeps you like focused on just like the game and just like being like, oh, like we're having fun doing this, you know? Like for a young kid that just kind of makes him like stay into it and just stay positive. So I think that's always huge help. Yeah, I don't know. This like they lost Dumba, they added Patrick Maroon. I don't know. Like
losing Dumba might not hurt as bad though, because I from what I understand is like they're pretty high on Brock Faber.
I was gonna say they've got other guys to come in to fill those spots. And like you were kind of shocked that like Dumba only had whatever it was like
14 points.
It's like 17.
Like he doesn't put up points, which like some guys that's like fine, but actually like looking at their D right now, Spurgeon had 34, Middleton had 15. Brody had 14. Like, these guys don't put up points.
Yeah, but that's the thing that it's kind of weird where like they don't need it. The thing that hurt him last year was Kaprizov got hurt.
Yep.
He had 75 points in 67 games. The other thing is Matthew Boldy having another full season. Have you seen his progression? 39 points the year before in 47 games, and then 63 and 81. Kid's got fucking 102 points in 128 games.
Yeah.
He's gonna put up another monster year. I mean, they struck gold with like Ryan Hartman like the year before. This year, not so much. Zuccarello still almost a point per game. Like Joel Eriksson, another 61 points. Like they're getting a lot of contributions from like their top six.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, Kaprizov missed time, Hartman missed time. Like there was just guys that they couldn't really stay healthy, and they were like big guys that they like need. Like you said, they were top six guys. So that's where they get all their playing from. So I mean, like I said, they lost Ryan Reeves, but they added Pat Maroon. So like we'll see what happens there. So I don't know. It's just I feel like they're running it back, but like this is a team where it's like they should run it back because it's a good team.
Here's the thing that's most impressive is the fact that they're doing this with $14 million in dead cap.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, it's
crazy.
Everybody was like, man, they're gonna be fucked in like 2 years, and it's like, shit, dude. They're figuring.
I'll take that one. I thought they were screwed. I thought there was no way, unless, I mean, whatever little magic they have, like what promises they're making, like just stick with us for the next couple seasons, and then we'll make it up to you your next contract kind of thing. Like, man, good on them.
Well, that's where they like really, like I was saying, like they struck gold. Like they had Ryan Hartman on 1.7 million, right? And last year when he like kind of had a really breakout season at 65 points. 65 points making 1.7 million is fucking huge. Like that's crazy. That's you just go beautiful. Another thing is like I know they want like Marco Rossi to like really step in and like produce. Like he was their 9th overall pick like a couple of years ago, or more than that. What was it? 2016? No, sorry, 2020. But yeah, they're with all the dead cap, they're getting, I feel like, super lucky that a lot of their contributions are coming from really young guys.
Yeah. Well, like you said, like Zuccarello had 67 points last year. He's making $6 million. Eriksson had 61 points last year. He's making 5.25, and Boldy had 63. He's making 7. So like to get 60 plus out of a $1.7 million guy, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah. Yeah,
and they're bringing back that reverse retro jersey as their third jersey. So
I mean, you just need one more year of those yellow pads out of Fleury. Like it's his final year, probably. Like go back to like the gold he had originally in Pittsburgh. Like it needs to be done.
And he's about to hit 1,000 games, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, 986 right now.
I think going back to Phil Kessel, he's only like 15 away from 1,000 points or something like that. He's really close. There's like 3.
I think it's even less.
Yeah, it actually might be like 5.
I think it's single digits. Yeah. Oh God, bring him in Chicago. Keep the streak going until he gets 1,000 points, and then just fucking call it a day.
Yeah, it's just so I can get another shirt, just like the fucking Fleury one where he got 500 wins.
So he's gonna get like a silver goalie stick then, right?
For 1,000 games played. Yeah, why not? Yeah,
that's fucking awesome.
He's well deserved.
He'll make fucking pads silver for a game.
That would be sick. How fucking cool. It's a good idea. I should shoot that to him in like a twit. Next excrete.
Or like get like all the posts silver, since he just loves talking to them. Just have all of them silver.
Oh God, that'd be sick.
That'd be pretty cool.
2 more teams here. We'll wrap this up. Dallas Stars last year finished 47-21-14 for 108 points. They lost in the conference final to the eventual Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights. Based on what I've been reading, from insights and all that, I mean, is this their division to lose? Is it even potentially even their conference to lose?
I mean, they even bring in.
I don't. Matt Duchene.
Matt Duchene. Okay, yeah,
cheap.
And they didn't really lose anyone. Oh, Max Domi signed in Toronto.
Sam Steele.
They brought in Sam Steele.
Was that the year before, or was that this year?
No, he was in Minnesota last year, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, you didn't lose much. I mean, flipping out Domi for Duchesne. I don't know. Like, they're not. I'm sure they're not expecting a ton out of Duchesne. Like, he put up 22 goals, 56 points last year. That's probably right what they're looking for on the third line.
Yeah, right. Having a third line depth like that. Right now, they have Tyler Seguin listed third line with him. Like, that's kind of sick.
Yeah, like that's probably right where like they don't expect. He's not expecting to get 40 goals like he was in Nashville every year. So like he's gonna be right where he needs to be because you got that line Robertson, Hinson, Pavelski, which is just disgusting. And I didn't even realize Jamie Benn put up 78 points last year.
Yeah.
But then that Wyatt Johnson kid is just nasty.
I was about to say too, I'm really excited to see what he does, builds off his first year.
Yeah, like he's nasty. And then, I mean, you know what you're getting out of Ottinger and your decor. You got.
Well, that's the thing too. Get another year of Ottinger. We're like another year under his belt, and he already plays really well, and he's only 24. Like, he's so good. He's so good.
So fucked in 2 years when he needs a new ticket.
How about that Heiskanen fucking quote where he said he just wants to be the best defenseman in the NHL. Like, he wants the Norris, he wants to fucking win games like crazy. He just wants to be like the best. It's like, yeah, fuck, man, he's gonna be so good. He's gonna have a huge year.
He's already up there as like as one of the best like puck moving defensemen in my mind right now. Like as the younger guys in the league.
I think it's also because like he's drafted the same year as Cale Makar. So you know whenever he hears like the Cale Makar like is like one of the best, and it's like, man, fuck that. Like, he was drafted right after me. Like, that's not we're not doing this. Like, I'm gonna show them that I'm the fucking best. And it's like, dude, I love that. He's super good.
Just throwing it out there. I did at the end of the season last year, our crazy takes. I said Dallas to win the cup. Just saying.
Oh yeah. I mean, what they ran into Vegas this year, and
well, I mean they're gonna have to go through Colorado, Edmonton, Vegas again next year. So
I mean, they had to go through Seattle last year, not Colorado. And Wyatt Johnson scored probably one of the sickest goals in the playoffs. Jesus,
and it's another team like we already talked about him, but it's like I can see a case for if they can make it work, Kane going down to Dallas, especially if he's cup chasing kind of thing, like he would fit in, be a great addition to this team. Like,
where would he go though? Like, where would he fit in?
I would bump Jamie Benn down to the third line with Duchesne and Sagan, put Marchment on the fourth line, and then you got Kane, Johnson, and Evgeny Dadonov.
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
I mean, I would rather bump Dadonov down and you just get Jamie Benn just fucking sit in front of the net and you just have Kaner feeding Marchment. Sorry, not Marchment, Johnston, Wyatt Johnston.
Either way, I think you can bump one of those guys down to the third line. And I mean, but think about Benn, Duchesne, and Sagan. Like, that's
that's kind of nasty though too.
It's a good option. All right. Wrapping up the preview here, the Colorado Avalanche last year finished 51-24-7 for 109 points. They lost in the first round to the Seattle Kraken. Is this team a one-hit wonder, or can they be a legit threat to win the Stanley Cup again?
I think that they're a legit threat. The issues that they had last year were basically injury issues, and then also the fact that Valiant Nichushkin decided to be like a fucking do some weird shit, man, like in the playoffs, and was just like, you can't play. Like, what's going on?
And also, Landeskog is out for this entire season as well.
Yeah,
all of last year, and it's happening again this year. But they brought in Ryan Duchesne. Jesus Christ! Again, 3 teams in a row we're talking about these guys.
Yeah, right.
And Johansson to take his place, which I feel like he might have more pressure on him in Colorado than Duchesne does in Dallas, but I still feel like it's way less pressure than he had in fucking Nashville, I'm sure.
So here's what I see. I don't see Ryan Johansson being second line center.
No.
Ross Colton's going to fucking take that job. Like, every time I've seen Tampa play and like Ross Colton just being like third or fourth line, I'm just like, God, this guy is so fucking good. And it just sucks. He's stuck behind like 2 great centers on that team. And it was just like, the second he moves, I really wanted him on the Hawks. I was like, the second he moves, he's going to fucking explode. He's going to get more ice time. He's only averaging 12 minutes last year. and like Ryan Johansson was averaging 15, and Ross Colton had more points.
They brought in Miles Wood too. That's not a bad pickup.
Miles Wood is a good pickup too. He's a solid, like kind of gritty kind of guy.
And Jonathan Drouin.
Yeah, I was about to say too. That's going to be interesting too. I mean, his former teammate McKinnon, junior teammate, like that could be his like kick in the ass to get going. Yeah.
Can you imagine if Jonathan Drouin like plays up to the level of where he was drafted? That's gonna be who else? Fuck, who else? Like I was gonna say, who else is in that draft? And just get like it's a 2014, right? 2014 and 2013. It would just have Colorado versus Florida. Just trade Seth Jones to Colorado, so it's like the top picks from each part of those drafts. Just go fucking head to head. That'd be insane. If Jonathan Drouin can like somehow find out what the fuck is going on, and like if he ends up getting first line time with Nate McKinnon and Nico Rantanen, he might be able to turn that shit on.
Their back end is solid. Like they lost Eric Johnson, but like they still got a solid back end.
If Cale Makar can stay healthy, he's gonna be close to pushing 100 points too.
He's involved in 2018.
He's not. Is it junior players only, or are the college players included? Because I keep seeing different things. Yeah, where it's just the guys that played in juniors.
I don't know if anybody truly knows what the fuck's going on and who's involved and who isn't, because
it's crazy that nothing's come out yet. Because
it's insane in this day and age when everything gets leaked so much. Like, I'm surprised we don't know anything more.
Well, it's not that insane that a major corporation is hiding things.
Yeah.
When
laugh
on things hidden. But yeah, I think it's more so for this. It's like they're still a top 3 team to me. They're playoff team. Like I said, their back end's solid. It's more so how is like those guys that we just talked about, like Johansson, Drouin, like what kind of players are they going to be when they come in? Like it's just those guys are more questionable, but everybody else in their lineup is like what the fuck McKinnon's going to do. You know what Rantanen can do. Guys are just nasty. Like you've seen
50 fucking goals, each getting over 100 points. Like Jesus Christ.
See what Nichushkin can bring to your team when he's not doing dumb, weird shit like outside.
Yeah. See, and also if he can stay healthy, 47 points in 53 games is super good. It's just this whole second line that they have listed on Cap Friendly. Not one person a game over 60, or not one over 60 games played.
Right. Nichushkin fucking. He was on my fantasy team almost all year, and he just fucking sat on my ear.
And then I think Josh Manson got hurt in the playoffs too. And like he's always hurt too. He was a pretty big piece of their cup run, like just solid defenseman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, April 27th, unknown injury.
I'm wondering if their goaltending tandem can repeat what they did last year, because Alexander Georgiev, like put up solid numbers. I think it's the same with it, like Grubauer, when I was like, he's basically like Niemi 2.0. Like he's got a great team in front of him. I'm not saying he's not good, but I'm saying his numbers are probably a little bit inflated. Like if you're winning, your record is 40-16 and you only have like a little bit above average like goaltending stats, like a 918, like let's say like it's like 910 is like league average. But like the best goalies in the league, like you're looking at Shesterkin and Sorokin, like they're pushing like 930, like night in and night out. And he's like 253. Yeah. Like he's a solid enough goalie on a really good team too.
Yeah, I'm not like a huge fan of him, but like you said, like he plays well enough to get the job done. Like their goalie that's been in Colorado pretty much, like Kemper, Georgiev, Grubauer, like all those guys came in. They weren't great, but like they're good. Like they did what they had to make them like be good enough. And to your point, I mean, not only like, you look at fucking like UC Saros 919 on a Nashville team that wasn't very good. Like
it didn't make the playoffs, right? Yeah. Like, and they also he didn't have a good start to the season either. Like, and he still finished with a 919 because he finished the year like insanely strong.
Yep. So it's like, yeah, it's just that all you need is average goaltending out of that team. Like that's all you. because you're back on so well that they're going to help you out so much, and McKinnon and Rantanen are going to put up over 100 points each. So like that's all you need.
I forgot that they lost Eric Johnson.
Mm-hmm. He went to Buffalo.
Yeah, and
Buffalo.
JT Comfer. Yeah, that's right. That makes sense.
So
they took like a little hit, but I think that their center depth with like I truly believe Ross Colton's going to take over the second line role from Ryan Johansson. But Ryan Johansson being a third line center isn't a bad look.
Just like Duchesne in Dallas.
Yeah, right. Like they were both getting paid $8 million to be in Nashville, and they both get the fuck out of here. Go play third line minutes for some other central team, please.
Fighting for the top line center in Nashville, and both just get fucked off into third line.
all right, we'll wrap this up here real quick. Your top 3, bottom 3. You can include the Blackhawks in this list.
Oh, okay. Number 1, Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy.
So top 3, I don't know the exact order, but I'm going the same 3 that are there right now. I might just flip-flop Dallas and Colorado, do Dallas, Colorado, Minnesota.
Yeah, I could see that. I probably...
You guys convinced me. I would say Nashville, top 3. Let's go.
Not top 3.
Nah, I would say it's probably the same. I think Colorado, Dallas, then Minnesota. Just because
I think it's
McKinnon and
both
Rodman
sides.
is just going to still just pull that team forward.
I really think after what Seattle did to Colorado last year, they're going to be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
They're ready to fucking go this year.
And then
the only change I see in the standings, honestly, is flipping Winnipeg and Nashville.
The whole standings?
Yeah.
I could see
I'd see Arizona going.
Yeah.
Up a little more.
I could see Arizona possibly pushing Winnipeg, depending on what Winnipeg does this season. Like if they make those trades.
They start
but yeah, it's going to be Chicago, I think, last still. But then I think St. Louis, and then either Arizona or Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Watch Winnipeg just fucking come out and be fucking first. Like
Of-
that's what's gonna happen. Then just like lay an egg in the playoffs.
I just hope for another year of just loving Bedard, watching him just tear shit up, and we still win the draft lottery again next year and just add another number 1 pick. Oh,
or trade that away for somebody huge.
yeah.
Nah, dude, you got to keep that pick because then you keep that salary cap low.
True.
That is true.
Taylor Hall first overall rolling, baby.
Hey, there we go.
Dude, if that happens, Taylor Hall is just like, fuck me. Like
Trade him to the Marlies and the Leafs, get the first round pick somehow.
All right, episode 242, Central Division preview. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, social media at WCB Podcast, DraftKings promo code THPN. Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Hawks, baby. Let's go. Love you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the WCB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast. To connect with Jarom and Tanner, check out the boys at WCB Podcast on all social media. We'll see you next time.